you know what it means to
Can't help me there.
discriminate, right? Either discriminate against someone or against something or
Yes.
whatever. Let's say that you hire someone, you're looking for an employee, and you get a person who walk into your office with their resume and they are a DEI person. And then you get another person walking in who is experienced. They have real experience. They got a job. Would you hire the DEI person or the experienced person, the qualified person?
Well, that's a good question. That's a good question. What is a DEI person, Jesse?
Affirmative action person, like a black person.
I'm still a little unclear. Are you saying a minority or are you saying DEI?
DEI, which mean affirmative
Okay.
action, reparation, kind of that. And they just changed the names along the way, and they finally came up with DEI. So would you hire, you being a professional businessman, would you hire a DEI person or an experienced person?
Well, it sounds like you're making them incongruent. So are you saying that an individual who has a protected class, a woman, a black person, a disabled person would be less qualified than someone else?
No, what I'm asking, would you hire, as a professional, would you hire a DEI person or an experienced person?
It's a very difficult question to understand, Jesse. I'm sorry. Probably can't answer that one
Um,
today.
a DEI person doesn't have to really know anything. They don't have to have experience. They just need to be DEI. Whereas a normal person would have to be experienced. They know the job. They know what they do. They're very good at it. And you had two choices to make. One, a choice between one or the other. Would you hire the DEI person or would you hire the experienced person?
Well, when we're hiring for any role, Jesse, it's about who is most appropriate for the organization and who can do the work.
The
It's a
best
business,
qualified,
right?
right?
It's the individual that's most qualified for the work. And I want to be clear, I am not at all co-signing on any assertion that diverse candidates are any less qualified than non-diverse candidates. So I do
What do you mean by that? Are
have
you
an
saying the
issue with how the
DEI
question.
person would be as qualified as the experienced person?
Well, I would never call anyone a DEI candidate.
But that's what they call it,
I would say,
right? That's what they call it.
well,
Why
I'm
would you
not.
call it that?
Many organizations do establish goals for diversity. For example, I worked at Whirlpool, and one of their goals was to improve the percentage and number of Black women in manager plus leadership roles. So that was a specific goal. And it was also a business goal. It was a business goal because they wanted to be more successful by having more and diverse opinions at the table when decisions are made.
And so those black women that they're hiring because they're female and because they're black, wouldn't they be DEI persons because they're not as qualified, right? It's only because they're black
No,
and female, right?
no. So let me continue with the example, Jesse. So when an organization, I think very responsibly decides, hey, we want to diversify our pool of candidates so that we can then have a more diverse employee base that can make better decisions. That's all it is you're opening the funnel, right? So you're saying we historically recruited from this non-diverse college in our town. We no longer only want to recruit there. We want to go to an HBCU. We want to go and reach out to um, other organizations, maybe an LGBT organization at the campus because we want to get all these opinions in. We want a bigger pool, right?
But would you
So
hire, I know, but would you look for the best qualified person, or will you look for, in your
always,
search like that, would you look for the best qualified person, or would you look for the DEI person?
well, see, that's where we go back to we want the pool to be bigger, right? So
So
what
it doesn't
happens is
matter that they're
you're getting
DEI.
all of these candidates.
So,
So you want to get everybody into the pool so you can look and choose who is the most qualified. And so I think a common misconception is that it's an either or. So you've posed this question to me a few times that it's like a DEI candidate or a normal candidate. It's candidates. Let's get all the candidates in the pool and let's choose who's most qualified. And let's give those non-traditional candidates that normally don't get a seat at the table, let's give them an opportunity just to apply and get in the door
oh,
and
I
have an
see.
interview.
So if I hear you correctly, you're saying let's give the DEI person a chance, even though they're not qualified because they're not capable of rising to the occasion. So you have to give them a chance, and even though they're not qualified for it.
No, 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 no.
Would you consider Black people as a protected class of people?
For sure. We're roughly 12, 13% of the US population, and if we don't have laws in place to ensure equal access to work and housing and everything else, it just won't happen. That's the nature of supremacy.
And so prior to the so-called civil rights movement, which was a horrible thing, and the worst thing that ever happened to the Blacks was the civil rights movement, other than abortion. Prior to the civil rights movement, Black people were not a protected class, and they did much better than they are doing today as a protected class. What's wrong with the Blacks that they need to be a protected class? What's wrong with them?
Well, I wouldn't say that anything's wrong with us.
Well,
And I'm
why do they
counting you
need to
as
be
black too.
protected class if there's nothing wrong with them?
Well, no, what I would say is you're protecting a class because it's vulnerable, right? So
So
when
why are
you're
Blacks so
a super
vulnerable,
minority,
though? Why did they become weaker after the civil rights movement than they were prior to the civil movement? What is wrong with the Blacks?
well, I think you're leading with the word weaker, Jesse, but I think we have to take a step back. I have a 96-year-old great aunt, 84-year-old grandmother. Like, I'm used to those stories, Jesse, of them having to shop in the basement of department stores and riding in the back of buses. Like, that's recent history. So that's why we have those protections. And some of it is like very fundamental day-to-day living. And then there's some more, as we get more nuanced in our society and our society evolves, we have to build those protections into the workplace as well.
And so, if I hear you correct, you're saying that the reason Black people need to be in a protected class because they're just weak and they don't want to shop in the basement, and they need. I don't. What's wrong with the Blacks?
Well, you have a protected class status because of vulnerability. And generally, that's based upon you being a minority. So you don't have the critical mass of people necessarily, for example, to guarantee a non gerrymandered district. So you've got to build these laws so that we can protect those
I know,
folks
but
and
that
ensure that
seems
they
so
have
weird to me.
their
What's
rights.
what's wrong with the Blacks that they can't do what the white man does? Why can't you just do for yourself and create your own job? And why do you need to be in a protected class, always having a handout for the white man to give up his stuff so you can have your stuff? What's wrong with the Blacks, and how will they ever overcome if they need to be protected?
There are a lot of generational issues that we're trying to address through these laws as well and programs and whatnot.